Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending our webinar today on Defender for Cloud and Copilot for Security, presented by Microsoft and D&H. My name is Phil Hess. I'm a sales engineer on the Microsoft team here at D&H. Our team consists of several sales specialists and certified sales engineers across the US and Canada. So we are here to assist you in any way with your Microsoft business. Please feel free to reach out to us. Alongside with me today, I have Leonardo Cruz, who's a cybersecurity architect from Microsoft, and we are very appreciative to have Leo with us today as part of our great relationship with Microsoft. So before I hand it over to Leo, just a few things to note. There is a Q&A message box. Feel free to post questions there. We're going to reserve a little bit of time at the end of the presentation to answer as many questions as possible. So again, thank you for attending, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Leo so we can get started.
Awesome, Phil. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Leonardo Cruz. I am a solution architect for security and compliance. I work at Microsoft Canada. And I work for our partners across the whole Americas region. So today, what we'd like to share with you is a little bit of how do we protect our data centers, specifically talking about the servers, and as well how can we use generative AI to support those activities. So I would like to start with understanding what is the security approach that we may need to take in order to protect our environments, right? So the first one is we need to understand that the attackers are using today scripts, tools, or any type of resources in order to get into our defenses, right? So that's where we need to take care of this approach of maybe the attackers we cannot fail once, right? Because the attackers are looking for any crack on our defenses in order to get into it. And as well, we need to think about them in terms of the return of investment, because they have to probably pay more attention or do an extra effort in order to accomplish their target, right? So depending on what is the reward of that effort, probably they will spend more time and more resources to get into the organization. So that's why probably there are different approaches regarding security and threat protection. But when we talk about the cloud, it's a little bit different, right? Why? Because probably we need to take care of the servers that we have on the cloud or in a data center, and the networking piece as well, the control plane that is across all of these servers that we may have on a data center. As well, the detections should be different, or we should have a different approach when those servers are on a cloud, right, or multi-cloud environment. And as well, the detections, the solutions or the features that we need needs to be considering a mechanism to protect those resources that are on the cloud, right? That they have a different approach, or we need to have a different approach to protect them. So what is that different approach? So the first one is we need to have not only an antivirus, right, to protect them. That's the basic feature that we may have on our data center, but as well we need to collect information from the servers, like security events, and as well the inventory of the servers in terms of components, software, and so on. And maybe because we might be managing or storage with our storage, we may have personal data or sensitive data. Probably we are bounded to certain compliance standards, right? So we need to include that approach on the security management. As well, there is a constant evolution of the security measures that we might take care of. So probably running vulnerability assessments, hardening, reducing the attack surface that the server may have or the service may have, and need to have a control of those insights that comes from the analysis of the security posture of the server. Once we have that, we can move forward to implement advanced controls like just-in-time access, or even application control or visibility of the network that is connected to this server. And finally, and not but last not the least, is detection and response. So we were talking a little bit about an antivirus today, right? Antivirus usually, or a traditional antivirus, works detecting signatures of the files that comes into the server or the operating system. But we need to think about new malware, or malware that doesn't behave or doesn't have those signatures, and maybe could be like a script, or could be like a piece of a PowerShell script, or even a Python script, or some component that maybe have a suspicious behavior. So we need first one that the antivirus have this capability of what we call next generation protection, right, to detect those behaviors and identify all those signals and send those and that information along with other security events to a platform that is capable of analyzing all of those events, what we call low fidelity signals, and based on threat intelligence and based on these models that can analyze all of these low fidelity signals, maybe those can build a more a deeper analysis on those and create alerts that may be significant for our analysis and for our security posture. So as you can see, it's a different approach, a more comprehensive approach. And based on that, what we have in Microsoft, one of the solutions that we have in Microsoft is what we call Defender for Cloud. Okay, so Defender for Cloud is a variety of tools. It's not a single tool. There are many that are part of this Defender for Cloud offer. So each one of them provides different capabilities, but in high level, what we are looking for here is to analyze our environment, do a constant evaluation of those, and finally to get insights about those, manage the security posture, as well as protect the workloads from threats that might be happening at that time, right? So it's not just like the static protection that we need. We need to improve the security posture, and how do we manage that security posture? Remember that I don't know, servers may have updates, the operating system, the applications, maybe those updates can have a vulnerability or not. We don't know, right? So how can we analyze those updates, and if those comply with the regulations as well, the security controls comply with the regulations that we might need to comply with, right? So we have, as you have seen, we have many resources in the cloud, like storage, with networking, we have compute capabilities, database capabilities. But when we talk about servers, we have this specific solution that is part of Defender for Cloud. I mean, it's the specific solution, the specific product that help us to address or to protect servers. That first one, we can protect servers that are both Windows and Linux servers, right? So that's an advantage. And the other one is that we can Doesn't matter if the servers are on Azure or on premises or even in another cloud, right? We can have these features, the analysis and the protection with other clouds. So in that sense, it's a hybrid or a multi-cloud approach, right? The second one, the second advantage of Defender for Cloud is that we are using to protect the server for regarding threat protection and the analysis. We are using um, our leading EDR solution. What is EDR? So it's what we call extended detection and response. We are going to talk a little bit deeper about that. What does it mean in the next slides? But taking into account that what I was saying, like today, and regular common antivirus is not enough. We need to consider a next generation protection antivirus, a solution that can identify those signals or behaviors, right, of the different pieces of software, as well as the behavior of the user, and as well add those signals into another layer capable of analyzing those signals that may behave or may seem as not harmful. But what if it's a complete attack that is taking more time, that is taking its time to be prepared, to be ready? So we need an extended detection and capability response, an endpoint detection and response capability that puts together all of this information and bring up to the light potential issues or more risky activities or behaviors of that are happening on the servers. And as well, we need to consider that Defender for servers have specific capabilities for cloud environments, like um, networking capabilities, like analysis, like file integrity monitoring, hardening that is adaptive of the behavior of the server, the communications, the memory that is being used, the processes, and so on, right? So when we compare an endpoint protection capability targeted for an end user that is using a laptop, right? The laptop is more dynamic in some sense, but the service is usually more static in the workloads that is holding and is serving, right? So that's why we need this different approach. So yeah, we will make available, sorry to interrupt, we are going to make available the slide deck after in the resources section. So yep, that will be available for you to download afterwards, okay? So just to mention here, Defender for servers, when we talk about Azure, Defender for servers is just one click away to be deployed on the servers that we have on Azure, right? So basically, it's one click to select the plan that we want to protect. I am going to talk about the offers that we have for Defender for Cloud, but you select the offers and click deploy, and that's it. It's going to be deployed on the servers, okay? But when we are talking about, it's more technical, when we are talking about deploying or protecting servers that are not on Azure, that are on premises or another clouds, we need to use another component of Azure that is called Azure Arc. At this point, we don't need to talk much more about how it's deployed and so on, but Azure Arc is not only to protect the servers. What it's going to do is, and we will see that in a demo, is that we will have visibility of those resources, visibility and some control capabilities of those resources that are not on Azure. We will have those on our, that visibility on our Azure portal. So that's interesting, right? Because those servers are not on Azure, but although we can have some control and protection on those devices. So we have offers for what we call Defender. Okay, you will hear a lot of Defender, the name of Defender, Defender for Cloud, Defender for Server, Defender for Endpoint, XDR. So you are going to hear a lot about Defender, right? But whenever we need to decide are we going to protect the servers, we have two main offers. Okay, we have Defenders for Servers Plan 1 and Defenders for Servers Plan 2. Okay, so those are the main offers that we have to protect servers that are like in this, I will say, this data center architecture. The difference between these two is, you will see that on the slide. But what I would like to point out is the first one is when you protect a server using, or when you use Defender for Server, that protection or the cost of that protection is charged or is billed by the hour. Okay, so imagine or picture this environment when the customer, or this environment when we may have some seasonality, maybe during the weekdays we don't have that much use of the servers, right? Probably it's more steady. But what if during the weekend the architecture, these servers need to have more, we need more compute capability, so the architecture of that application needs more servers, right? And those servers can be provisioned automatically, or in that spot, in that same moment. But we need the protection as well for those servers. So the advantage here is that we can, those servers that are not used or are stopped at that moment, those servers are not billed, are not, you don't get a charge for the protection on those servers whenever they are shut down. So again, this offer is optimized for servers, for this kind of resources. And the second one, you will see that Plan 1 includes all of the EDR capabilities, the endpoint detection and protection, and response capabilities, and so on. But when we move to the Plan 2 capabilities, you will see that we have advanced capabilities that are focused for servers that are on the cloud or hybrid environments. So like, for instance, the agentless vulnerability assessment. One of the things that I am going to point out as well is that what happens when we need to do a vulnerability assessment on the server, right? So identify what the server has and then to run a vulnerability assessment of it. So the question is, how is this going to affect the performance of the server, right? This is the first question that we have. So we have now on Defender for servers, we have this agentless vulnerability scanning capability. So what it happens is we don't have an impact on the performance of the servers. We don't have to deploy actually the agent of the Defender on those servers. And even with that situation, with this agentless capability, we can extract, we can analyze the vulnerabilities that may be there, okay? And then provide this information back into the portal and act on top of that. So again, obviously the best approach is to have both. The agent of Defender for Endpoint, the Defender agent, will give you a deep analysis on the processes that are on the memory. Again, like a more deep analysis or assessment of what is going on the device, on the server. But the agentless capability will be like more suitable for certain workloads or even certain operations, right? So hybrid approach on these two options is another advantage that we have on Defender for servers. I see that we have some questions on the chat. I will be able to answer and provide answers at the end. So bear with me a little bit more time, but we are going to address all of them, okay? Another thing that I want to highlight is the endpoint detection and response. Again, when we have an antivirus and an anti-malware on our device, what we are expecting is that nothing happens, right? That we are protected, right? But what if we download Excel file, right? Or sorry, a file that may have some script like a macro, like, or even maybe we download a file that maybe there is maybe there is a legitimate reason to install a new software on my device or even on the server, right? But we don't know. We are trusting that the software is okay, right? That the software doesn't have any malicious behavior, or even the software doesn't, the operating system, or even the program, the service that we are installing on our devices doesn't have any vulnerability, right? That's what we are expecting. We are trusting about that. But what if a new vulnerability comes out, right? You can we can explore those vulnerabilities and the latest vulnerabilities for all the programs, operating system, and so on that we have that they are available. So what if a new vulnerability comes out and we don't have the visibility about that, and we don't know if some attacker is already leveraging that vulnerability in order to attack that server or to attack that device? So what EDR does is to understand maybe a device. What happens if we have a web server, for instance, and there is a connection from internet that comes to the website, but that connection comes from a IP address that is anonymous IP address. So is that legitimate or not? We don't know, right? So what EDR is going to help us is to put together all of these signals, right? Again, low fidelity signals, and analyze all of those alerts and put together a case, and put together what we call an incident that we may have relationship within these alerts, and probably those alerts put together will make more sense to understand and to have like a really high severity incident, right? So we don't need to do that manually. Microsoft and the EDR platform will do that for you, and we will see that on a demo. Okay. Okay. Just to mention again, we have this hybrid approach to do the vulnerability assessment. One is done through the Defender for Endpoint, the Defender agent is doing the vulnerability assessment, but as well we have agentless vulnerability scanning. So again, the agentless will not have any impact on the server because we are not deploying any agent at this point. We can use the agentless vulnerability to do so. Okay. Okay, so let's go, and now we will have a demo. And bear with me, we are going to go through a demo of what are the capabilities of Defender for servers, what is the information that we can see, how can we protect the servers, right? And after that, we are going to talk a little bit about generative AI and how Copilot for security will help us to accelerate the responses, or to be aware of what's going on and accelerate the responses that we can, or how that can we address those security incidents, right? So we are going to talk a little bit, how does it relate with this Defender for Cloud part, okay? So I am going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is the Defender for Cloud portal, okay? Whenever we go to Azure, we can go to Defender for Cloud, and we will see the portal like this, a portal like this. This is already an environment that has been already set, right? But one of the interesting things in the beginning, in the overview portal, is that we see the security posture. What does it mean, the security posture? Is based on the analysis of the security controls, the vulnerability, even the incidents, the security incidents that the devices, that the servers may have, we build a security posture of the environment. So what does it mean is how many controls, how many security controls, how many incidents do we have, how many opportunities do we have in order to secure the environment. That is basically what is meaning, right? And the security posture again is built from the different signals and the analysis of the vulnerabilities and security controls that comes from the analysis, right? That information will not only help us to define the security posture, but as well, how do we comply with those regulatory requirements that we might need to be aware of. Again, depending on the industry or the applications that we are managing on the cloud, probably we need to comply with those regulatory requirements, right? So as you can see here, one of the advantages of using Defender for Cloud, remember that Defender for Cloud is like the overall solution, but in order to get insights from the servers that feed these kind of views, we need to enable Defender for Servers, right? So at that moment, we are going to get information, get the analysis of the servers, and those insights, that information is going to be shown in this view, okay? So for instance, what happened, right, if I am managing, for instance, credit card information? So what I can do is add this assessment. Maybe I can add this assessment here to the PCI, right? Regulatory compliance. So what I can see here, the visibility I have here is based on the security controls and based on my current environment configuration, which security controls I am complying with and which ones need to be addressed. So for instance, we see that we have a requirement of protect stored account data, right? So we click here and we can see that we are restricting access to storage accounts or servers or so on. And what how is the tool reporting this information? So as you can see here is there are some manual attestations that you can do. Okay, so you say like, I can attest that this is already configured, this is already taken care of, like maybe a privacy notice or something like that. So there are manual attestations that we can do, but as well, there are others that are automatically managed by the solution, like this, like cryptographic keys, like encryption of the data storage. So those ones are automatically sensed by the tool and will give this information back into the report. Okay, so again, we will have this visibility of how I am complying with these regulatory or these regulations, right? And whenever I need to export a report and see how I am going, I can click here, download the report, and I can share that report. It is a PDF with the shareholders, how good I am doing with this compliance, right? So again, this tool or this information is coming from the actual devices configuration and the vulnerabilities and the security controls that this may have. Okay, so this is one of the advantages of using Defender for Cloud. Going back to the security part of this demo, remember that we have whenever this constant or this continuous assessment will provide us recommendations. Okay, so in this environment, you can see here that I have the visibility of a couple of Azure subscriptions on the same portal. You can see that same portal. I just have a single portal, single view, but I have visibility what's going on or what are the security recommendations on 2 Azure subscriptions, to 6 AWS accounts, Google Compute projects, and we have a single pane of glass for all of these. So what happens if I need to understand what are the vulnerabilities that I have found on a specific compute resource? So what I'm going to do here is click here. As you can see, this is a AWS Elastic Compute resource, okay? And I can find that based on the vulnerability assessment that has been done, there are some findings that are reported here. Like instance, I need to update the .NET framework, I need to update the operating system, and update OpenSSL binaries, right? And I see that the updates are very urgent because the severity of those updates probably can represent a high risk for my organization, right? So again, you can see all of those findings right here, and you can start taking care of those recommendations, right? But again, is what are the recommendations that we get from those vulnerability assessments? And another thing that is important to hear at this moment is that because we are doing an overall assessment of our environment, we have something that what we call is attack paths. Okay, this is really good. This is something that came to Defender for Cloud Portal a couple of months ago, I think. So what the graph represents is an attack path, an actual attack path, right? So what does it mean in this case? So for instance, we see that maybe coming from internet, right? Going from internet, we have an IP address, a public IP address on that resource. So, and though that public IP address is related to a networking interface. Whenever if you have had some experience with Azure or with other compute clouds, you know that we have different parts of the compute. It's not only the server, but we have the storage component, the networking piece, and so on. So that's why we have a representation of this entity, like a networking interface. And this networking interface leads to the compute instance. So why do we have this information? Okay, so the idea is that we have visibility on this attack path to understand that if we do not address the recommendation or the findings, probably an attacker can use one of these vulnerabilities that are addressed with the updates that are missing. They can use one of those vulnerabilities to enter and to go into the actual compute resource, right? So there might be other examples where the compute resource is exposed, and maybe the compute resource can lead into another entity. Maybe that could be a database, right? So the attack path will show us like where do we want to take care of to protect the whole attack path. And the first step is to understand what are the findings. As you can see here, there's a lot of recommendations to be addressed, right? To take care of in order to protect the environment. So the more findings that it gets, probably we need to spend more time over that one, okay? So again, we are doing this proactive protection of the server, this assessment, and with those findings, we can create a strategy on how to protect our environment, okay? One of those, and now let's go to, this is the proactive, right? The one that is analyzing this assessment, the results, and providing us those insights. But what about the threat protection, the actual threat protection? So let's go to see the security alerts. So whenever a security incident happens, you will see that incident represented here as an alert, or an alert on this view. So this view has a lot of resources. There are not only servers, but what I am going to do is to filter by type of resource. Okay, so let's see if we have a virtual machine. Okay, let's see if we have some. Okay, so as you can see here, I have these servers. Okay, this is a server that actually is on Azure. Okay, but we see that there are some detections that were here that were done by the agentless capability. So for instance, it was detected that this device has a malware already on it, right? And there was something that could represent a malware on that device. But let's go to another example just to see for you what's going on. For instance, we have detected here a suspicious authentication activity. Okay, so in this resource, specific resource, and that alert is already mapped to a Mitre attack framework tactic. Remember that when the attacker goes into is performing this attack, a threat actor is performing an attack, the activities are mapped into a framework, in this case Mitre, in order to understand where is this attack going, what does the activity represent. Could be like persistent, lateral movement, reconnaissance, right? Reconnaissance is like an early step of this attack process, right? So with that, we can understand where is that threat happening, right? In which stage? Probably if that is happening at the exfiltration level, probably we have the threat, the hacker already in our network, right? So that's where that's why this authentication suspicious activity is happening. So that's why we map this as a pre-attack stage, okay? So again, the network, the defender capabilities, the agent that is running on the system will help us to have this alert capability, that understanding those alerts and sending that information into the defender for cloud portal. So whenever we have an alert, what we need to do is to attend the alert, to investigate the alert. So we have how many authentication attempts has been done, what is the attack source IP, and we have this, what are the resources related with this alert, and some recommendation on how to take actions. For instance, like how do we mitigate the threat? For instance, enabling a strong password or even modern authentication on the device, if that's possible. Maybe change the configuration of the security network security group, or even enabling. We can take more further steps like encrypting the storage and so on. So again, it's like a comprehensive approach in order to mitigate and prevent those threats. Okay. Okay. So and the last part of this demo is, again, we need to see that we can protect servers not only from Azure, but as well other clouds, right? So let's go to this view of inventory. As you can see here, I have a lot of devices, a lot of servers that are protected by Defender in this case. But let's see if we can filter by environment. Let's click here on premises. So there are some servers that are represented here. Those servers, you can see you have this visibility of the status of the server, right? Let's see if this has some information or not. But this will be represented with a different icon. And again, you will have the protection that provides Defender for servers on those that are not on the cloud. It changes a little bit because if they are not on the Azure environment, you don't have availability of the some advanced features. We have to be transparent about that. But the core features like a threat protection, like the EDR, like some of the protections that we need to have at least on those server environments are available on these on-premises. The multi-cloud is having more and more capabilities available, but as well we are depending on the what is available on the AWS, for instance, on the Google Compute Cloud. Okay, so up to here we already saw what is capable Defender for servers doing. And then let's move to the other topic on how can we use generative AI in order to protect our environment. Okay, I will go a little bit faster in order to get there. Okay, so let's talk very quick about Copilot for security. That's the name of the product that works for us, generative AI for security. So what does it mean, Copilot for security? Remember that Microsoft has this approach of tools consolidation. So we have like a family of products that usually works together, share signals, share functionality, and so on, right? That is all Microsoft approach for a long time. It has been like that. And now Microsoft is using generative AI in order to increase or to accelerate the capabilities that we have already on the tools. So that is where Copilot for Security comes into play. Is Copilot for Security is a tool that will help our security operations center, our IT analysts to perform the security and compliance activities. Why to use generative AI to protect our environment? The first one is generative AI is capable of analyzing data very, very fast, very quick, and to catch what other might be missing, right? If we are now doing this by human intervention, the human analyst, a person is doing this work of analysis, probably generative AI will help us to do it faster, right? So in that sense, remember that also the threat actors are using generative AI tools, are using artificial intelligence in order to get into to perform the attack. So we need a tool that can match this speed as well. And also the model of generative AI is trained on security. So if we have a security team that may have different skill levels at this point, probably the ones that need more skilling, they can use or can leverage Copilot for Security in order to perform the activities and learn about how to perform the security management. So in that sense, how does Copilot works? What we do and how do we interact with Copilot for Security is through prompts. Okay, so the prompts are the natural language that we can use to interact with Copilot. And this is great because we don't have to learn custom query language or any other type of language in order to ask Copilot about things, right? So what we are using there is just to understand a little bit the tools that we have today, Defender, Entra, Purview, Sentinel, and so on. Those tools are connected to Copilot for Security in a form of plugins. We are going to see that in the demo. And the plugins will provide skills or capabilities to Copilot for Security. Copilot for Security will use those skills to interact with the tools and then use the large language models to build as well the answers to provide back to the user. Okay, so it's a process over here. Can talk a little bit more about that in another occasion, but this is the overall process. So we have two different experiences on how do we interact with Copilot for Security. So let's go and talk a little bit about the, let's see the demo, okay? So we can be more clear. So again, we have two ways, or there are two interfaces, user interfaces to interact with Copilot. The first one is what we call a standalone experience. So you have here the Copilot for Security standalone experience, and in the bottom you can see here the prompt when you can write a prompt. What type of prompts or how can I start interacting with this solution? So there are some prompts suggested by Copilot for Security that we can start using to interact with the tool, right? For instance, help me to analyze this IP address, right? Help me to analyze a security incident. Help me to analyze the security posture of a device, okay? So I am going to refresh the tool. Just bear with me a second. Oh, no, it's not, doesn't want to work right now, but fortunately I have my second environment, okay? So give me 1 second here. So, well, in the meantime, when it comes back, so we can ask Copilot for Security using prompts, okay? So the prompts, how they work is you ask the question and generative AI will give you the answer. So let me see if I have this available right now, because I don't know why it's not. doesn't want to work. So sorry about that. It's a live demo, so something might happen. But okay, let's try to see if this comes back. But okay, that was the standalone experience. But what if we are using Defender tools and we need to the aid or we need to call Copilot for security from there? So what we can do is on the actual portals like Defender, Purview, and so on, Entra, Intune, what we can do is to call security Copilot to, to, to give us some help, right? So for instance, what I'm going to do is to look for a security incident that I have already identified. And something that I forgot to mention is that on Defender, we have alerts and we have incidents. An incident is built based on different alerts. I was mentioning a little bit about that before, right? But whenever we have many alerts that are related together, what Microsoft does is to put together all of these alerts, and then we can analyze those alerts as a single incident. We don't have to analyze each one of the alerts. Defender will automatically put together all of them. And you can see here that I can see the whole incident, the whole alerts, the timeline of the alerts. I can see this incident has 57 alerts. So you can see here all of those alerts, the timeline. But this information, what does it mean for me, right? Maybe I am a junior security analyst. So it may take time for me to understand what is going on here. So whenever I want to interact with Copilot, I can ask here. Let's try to generate a report. Sorry about that. Something is not working at this moment, but you can call Copilot from here, right from here, and create an analysis of the actual incident. Okay, so it will give you in plain English a summarization of this incident that you can use to start understanding what is going on with this incident. So, and the other thing that, another thing that it can do is, for instance, an script analysis. So I am going to go to the alerts here. 1 second. Let's look for the alerts here about this incident. Again, go back and try to do it again. Script. Okay. And let's go and see. Sorry about that. Let me try to open a security alert that I have already mapped in order to show you what we can do with Copilot. Okay. So one of the capabilities of Copilot for security is as well analyzing scripts. So in this alert, we see that there were many scripts that were done on the device. But what if we found the actual script that is calling here, like for instance this one. This is a PowerShell script that maybe we don't know what the PowerShell script is doing, right? But Defender identified this as a risk, and Defender identified this one and stopped and reported back into the Defender portal. But what if we need to understand what it's doing and then act on top of that, right? So what we can do here as well is to ask Copilot for security to analyze this script and give us the insights of what is going on in each one of the steps, right? And with that, we can help probably the users that doesn't have that experience, or maybe accelerate the job of the security analyst in order to perform their job, right? So I have opened this one. As you can see, this is a summary that Copilot created, right? This was created a couple hours before to prepare for the demo. So you can see that we have 68 alerts, right? But what Copilot did was to create an incident summary, like high severity multi-stage incident involving ransomware, right? And there are some highlights about what are the steps that were done on this incident, like discovery, persistence. We were talking about these phases of the attack, right? Defense evasion, like credential access, and so on. So as you can see here, we already have a very good summary about this incident. What if we need to report back, or the security analyst needs to report back a summary of this incident to the upper management? How long can it take to do this, right? For a human. So could probably take more than maybe 1 hour or two to do so, right? But Copilot for Security did this in seconds, less than a minute, right? So this is one of the advantages of using Copilot for Security. And let me see if I can see the other thing. For instance, here I have the standalone experience, and what I did here was to ask Copilot to do an incident, an analysis of an incident on Sentinel. Okay, we didn't talk about Sentinel, but it's related to Defender. So what you can see here is summarize the incident. Okay, so Copilot will create a summarization of it, and it took 24 seconds in order to do that. And then tell me about the entities associated with that incident. This is a prompt book. I will show you a little bit about that, but it will pull the most relevant entities like files, host, registry keys. Maybe a registry key was changed or manipulated. So we have this visibility here as well. If there were some malware entities, we can see there were 3 malware entities on this incident, on a single incident, right? And the accounts and also scripts, right, that were done. So whenever what happened if we need to summarize the incident or analyze the incident and maybe provide a summarization for upper management, and maybe the upper management doesn't know anything about technical stuff, right? So one of the things that we can ask Copilot is to write an executive report summarizing this investigation. It should be suitable for non-technical audience. So it took 50 seconds for Copilot to build this summarization that is not that technical, right? We saw the other one that was a little bit more technical in order to like timeline and so on. But what if we don't need that level of technical reporting? So we can ask Copilot to create another summarization that is not that technical, and then copy this and just send that into an email, right? So again, this is all the capabilities. Just 1 more minute. I have time to answer some of the questions. These are what we call, we interact with the solutions, with other solutions. Again, Copilot for Security is like the glue that puts together all of those, the other solutions that we have in Microsoft. So this is done through what we call plugins. So we can select which plugins we can connect to Copilot for Security. By default, there are some enabled, but we can come here and disable them. So for instance, we can have Defender XDR, the part of Defender, Entra ID, the identity part, Intune to interact with policies and so on. We have Purview. Purview is going to be available in the future. And we have as well Sentinel and attack management, and something that is interesting, and I wanted to mention, Defender for Threat Intelligence. This is the threat intelligence that can give you, like, evaluate the risk of this IP address. Threat intelligence will give you that information. So again, we can interact with these tools using Copilot. And how do we interact with the tools? Using prompts. So you can see here what are the capabilities of each one of the tools. So for instance, let's extract, analyze a script or a command. This is a generic capability of Copilot. But if I go and say, for instance, Defender for Threat Intelligence, give me details of a specific CVE, right? A specific vulnerability, give me all the details of specific vulnerability. Analyze a file. You can put a file using Copilot and put that into the Microsoft Cloud and analyze the file, like if it's malware or is suspicious or whatever, Defender can do it. So again, you have a lot of possibilities here in order to use Copilot for security and to accelerate the security operations, okay? So I will take, there are 2 minutes left on the time, so we took a little more time on the demo, but I will try to answer most of the questions, okay? So the presentation will be available afterwards. How does, one of the questions is that how does this compare with Checkpoint, okay? So, well, Checkpoint has also always, as well as a lot of solutions to protect the customer environments. But I think that Microsoft proposition in this sense, whenever we talk about EDR, right, the endpoint detection and response, and as well the server protection, we are looking to protect in this comprehensive approach, vulnerabilities, proactive, and so on, not only the passive and the threat protection only. And whenever we can put together more signals, like the identity signals, like the cloud application, like, I don't know, even if the customers are using a local Active Directory still, we have other Defender solutions that can protect those environments and get signals that are put together back into the Defender portal in the what we call Defender XDR solution, like extender detection and response. So it will pull together all of these signals, not only from the servers, but as well from the identities and maybe the email, right? Like Defender for Office and so on, Defender for Cloud, right? So we put together all of that information and build a comprehensive incident that you can analyze, and you have an overall visibility of all of those rather than going back and forth with different kind of tools, right? And what Copilot for Security does right now in order to in top of those tools is a tool at the end, a tool that can help you to accelerate the responses. It's not going to you cannot ask Copilot for Security to let's improve my security posture. No, it's a tool, right? You are the analyst or the IT user is always in control, and they use Copilot as a tool in order to be faster and improve the responses that they are doing, improve their job. Okay. Okay. So I think those are the questions that we could answer at this point. I hope you liked it. Okay, I hope you like it. Please let us know if you have any feedback or you want to see more deep dives on a specific topic, so we can cover those on with more time and with more deep and maybe attend the questions you may need. Okay, so again, thank you everyone for being here with us, and see you in the next one.
Thank you, Leo.
Okay.
Really appreciate that. Great presentation. And as everybody knows, security is extremely important, whether it's in the cloud, on-premise. Our team is here to discuss Azure Arc, Defender for Cloud, Copilot for Security. So please don't hesitate to reach out. This presentation will be available at the registration link in 24 hours. And please watch out for some communication from our side. We're trying to gather some feedback on this presentation as well as future presentations, and as well as how to get in touch with us. So again, thank you all for attending, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.